want to go among mad people.
Oh, you can help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad. You're mad.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be. Or you will not come here.
As you can see, this is a paragraph of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, a children's book written in 1865 by Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll was an English writer who born in 1832 in Daresbury, Cheshire. Since he was a little boy, he demonstrated skills in maths, physics, and even languages. He became a teacher of Christ's College when he met a new dean called Mr. Little, and one of the daughters of Mr. Little was Alice Little. Some biographers of Lewis Carroll said that Alice Little could be the inspiration of Lewis Carroll in order to create Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Some biographers of Lewis Carroll said that he was a shy person, he didn't get married because he has problems in order to get relations with women of his age, so he preferred to be with underage people. So many people of the era when he lived said that probably he could be a pedophile, but this event hasn't proved yet. The novel Alice's Adventures in Wonderland has 12 chapters. In each chapter, the principal character is Alice. Alice is represented like a girl of 8 years old, maybe 10, sorry. She's a member of high upper middle class. Although she's a member of a family, during the novel she didn't mention the name of her parents or her brother and sister. In my presentation, I decided to put some images in color because are the images of some drawings of Walt Disney film that he created in 1953. He adapted the original version of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. So during my exposition, you are going to see images in color are other in black and white because the ones that are in color are the same characters that appears in the original novel and also in the Walt Disney's film. The images in black and white are drawings designed by John Tenniel. John Tenniel was the drawer that Lewis Carroll hired in those days in order to represent much better the original idea of Lewis Carroll of his book. During the book, Lewis Carroll tried to demonstrate the changes of the body of a little girl that was growing to the teenager area. She was shrinking and making bigger all the time when she ate some cakes, when she ate some carrots, when she drinks some things. Here in this image we can see Alice that has a height of 2 inches, and this is a little puppy. So you can see this enormous the different sizes between the dog and Alice. During the novel, Alice has a lot of meetings with characters that has a special personality, that has also special emotions, but there's a lot of characters that I wouldn't have the all the time in order to talk about all of them. But here you can see the caterpillar, the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, the Dormouse. This is my favorite chapter because in the sixth chapter, Alice met the Duchess. The Duchess was the owner of the Cheshire Cat, and this chapter, the chapter 6, called Pig and Pepper, it was the craziest chapter during all the novel because meanwhile the cooker was cooking a soup, the Cheshire was grinning all the time, the Duchess was nursing this little baby that was that's crying and screaming all the time, and suddenly he became in a pig. And in this chapter, in the chapter 6, the Cheshire Cat told Alice that all the people in Wonderland are crazy. So if you want to understand this book, you shouldn't be logical. You try to understand the political context and even the economic context that Lewis Carroll tried to demonstrate in his book. Uh, the first time that I read this book, I considered that Lewis Carroll only want to demonstrate or represent a nightmare or even a dream of a girl of 8 years old of the high social class of England of those days. But according to the search I did, I could find out that Lewis Carroll tried to make a criticize of the economic system, the political system, and also the justice system in those days in England. Here in this image, Lewis Carroll tried to demonstrate and try to represent a trial, that the king and the queen create against the knight, against a knight that stole the heart of the queen. And this chapter begins like this. Alice had never been in a court of justice before, but she had read about them in books, and she was quite pleased to find that she knew the name of nearly everything there. That's the judge, she said to herself, because of his great wig. The judge, by the way, was the king, and she wore his crown over the wig. And that's the jury box, thought Alice. And those 12 creatures? I suppose they are the jurors. The 12 jurors were all writing very busily on slates. What are they doing? Alice whispered to the griffin. They can't have anything to put down yet before the trial's begun. They're putting down their names, the griffin whispered in reply, for fear they should forget them before the end of the trial. Stupid things, Alice began in a loud, indignant voice, but she stopped hastily, for the white rabbit cried out, Silence in the court! And the king put on his spectacles and looked anxiously round to make out who was talking. In this chapter 12, Lewis Carroll criticized that the king and the queen of Wonderland has hadn't didn't have an idea of the division of powers in those days because in the person of the king concentrates the persecutor and the image of the judge. So it's this idea it's against the division of powers. So as I told you in a few moments before, in order to understand this book, you shouldn't be logical and you try to have an idea of the political system, the justice system, and the economic system in those days in England. That's all of my presentation, and I thank you very much.